On October 25th, Archangel Michal says, "The person you keep thinking about just had a vision of you last night. Their message is in here. Listen to this now." October 25th. A date that seems ordinary on the calendar, but is already etched in heaven's scroll as a divine turning point. In the stillness between midnight and dawn, something sacred unfolded, something not seen with physical eyes, but received in vision, spirit to spirit. The heavens trembled with movement as the veil thinned, and Archangel Michal stepped forward with a message. It is not for the masses. It is not for the curious. It is for the one whose heart has been relentlessly stirred, whose thoughts have returned, again and again, to a particular soul they cannot explain. This day has been marked. It has been watched. It has been prophesied over. Because on the night just past, someone was shown something about you. In a vision not born of human imagination, but breathed by the Spirit, they saw your face. They felt your essence. Not a memory, a revelation. And though they may not fully understand it, heaven does. That vision is the answer to what you've been feeling lately, the restlessness, the pull, the sudden floods of emotion and thought that come without warning. You have not imagined it. You are not the only one sensing the connection. This is not simply nostalgia or emotional confusion. This is divine alignment beginning to move. A vision has broken through the barriers of distance, silence, and even time. A message wrapped in mystery now seeks to be unsealed, and it has found its way to you. You are meant to hear this. You are meant to receive this. For heaven has declared, the time is now. But stillness is required. Quiet your surroundings. Quiet your soul. Because this kind of message is not shouted. It is whispered. It is layered with symbols, confirmations, timing. And unless your spirit is open, you'll miss what was meant for you. Archangel Michal leans in close, with urgency in his voice and fire in his breath. This message is only for the one who knows that something sacred is happening. If that's you, stay. Don't move. The veil is parting. What was once hidden is beginning to be revealed. Type "I receive this vision" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 1025 is now activated over you. By the rising of the next sun, Archangel Michal declares, something long delayed begins to unfold. Not in the outer world just yet, but in the realm where eternity whispers before time catches up. Hear this clearly. Your spirit was summoned to this message, not by accident, not by algorithm, but by divine interception. Heaven has interrupted your scroll, your routine, your overthinking, because this is the moment the message arrives. Listen with your spirit now, not just your ears. Silence the noise around you. Let your heart beat slower. Let your breath deepen. Because what is being spoken carries a sacred frequency. Only the chosen recognize the rhythm. Only the awakened recognize the code. This is not a general word. This is a surgical strike into your soul's deepest chamber, a message that you didn't know you were waiting for until you heard it echo through your bones. The one you keep thinking about, the one your spirit circles in the silence, they had a vision of you last night. It was not just a dream. It was not random. It was orchestrated in heaven's courts and released by angelic visitation. As they slept, their soul was taken into a place beyond language, beyond reason. They saw your essence. They encountered your presence. A divine mirror was held up, and in it, your name, your energy, your purpose had appeared. They don't fully understand it, but the heavens do. And now you must. Heaven choreographed it all. Angels stood between the two of you, not to separate, but to interpret, to translate the unspeakable emotions, the unresolved tension, the invisible bond that the world keeps trying to explain away but can't. Your connection is not merely emotional. It is prophetic. It is not merely about history. It is about destiny. This message comes with a clock, not man's clock, not earthly deadlines, but divine time, Kairos time, the kind of time where heaven shifts things suddenly and silently. And right now, you are in the thick of a spiritual window that will not stay open forever. Within the next 48 hours, angelic movement will intensify. The unseen realm is already vibrating with confirmations, music that speaks directly to your heart, dreams laced with their face, numbers repeating in divine order, conversations you didn't expect to hear. The veil is thinning. The spirit of the one you've been drawn to is trying to reach you, not through words, but through energy, through dreams, through impressions, through divine signals that only your awakened soul could understand. You're not crazy. You're not reaching in vain. There's movement happening beneath the surface, and the message has now reached the surface. Archangel Michal speaks now with thunder behind his voice. You are not imagining this. You are remembering it. The spirit saw you, because your spirits have never truly been apart. Heaven is now giving clarity, but it comes with an instruction. Be still. Be alert. Be discerning. Because now the message begins to unfold. Type "I am listening" in the comments if you receive this divine interruption. Blessing code 777 is hovering over your life. You've felt it, haven't you? The unease that rises without reason. The name that lingers in your spirit like a whisper that won't fade. The image of them that flashes across your mind in the quiet hours. You've asked yourself, why now? Why then? Why again? But heaven has heard your heart louder than your words. There is talk in the spirit, a holy stirring, a divine disturbance. Because someone, yes, the very person your soul keeps circling, has been asking heaven about you. Not in full awareness, but in yearning. Not in bold declarations, but in silent echoes that only God can interpret. They saw you in vision. They felt you in sleep. And now their soul is unsettled, that they don't yet understand what they've seen. Archangel Michal leans in and says, they know something, but not all. Their heart is wrestling between logic and revelation, between fear and recognition. Because what they encountered wasn't just a dream. It was a spiritual alarm set off by heaven to awaken what they've long buried. Confusion is the cloak of every divine connection before its time. That's why your emotions have been tossed like waves, crashing in cycles. Some moments you feel peace, and others you're overwhelmed by thoughts you can't explain. That's not just memory, it's movement. That's not just longing, it's a spiritual alert sounding in both your realms. And yet, in the middle of this storm of emotion, heaven is not panic. Heaven is precise. There's a reason you can't shake their energy. There's a reason they're dreaming of you. The watcher inside you, the prophetic spirit that discerns more than words, feels something drawing near. And you're right, because something is coming closer. A spiritual event is approaching. A divine intersection is unfolding beneath the visible world. But with that closeness comes questions. Is this a test? Is this a sign? Is this the beginning of a reunion, or the final release of an old illusion? These aren't just emotional reactions. These are spiritual contractions, signs that something is about to be birthed through this connection. Whether it is for healing, closure, or the activation of divine assignment, this cannot be ignored. Archangel Michal says, do not dismiss what you feel. Your discernment is being trained. Your spirit is being sharpened. You are being prepared. This is why your soul feels heavier at night. This is why tears come when no one is speaking. This is why silence feels louder than words. The spiritual realm is stirring things into motion, and your heart has been drafted into the center of it. This is not about chasing a person. It's about understanding a pattern, breaking a cycle, and unlocking a message that heaven placed inside their vision of you. You are not crazy. You are not obsessed. You are spiritually connected. And heaven is now releasing clarity. Be alert. Be still. Be honest with yourself. The time for spiritual maturity has come. You can no longer afford to doubt your intuition when God Himself has confirmed it in vision, in energy, and now, in this message. Type I am awake in the comments if your spirit confirms this. Blessing code 4411 is unlocking clarity now. If this message has struck something deep in you, if you know this wasn't just a video, but a divine appointment, then I invite you to take part in what God is doing through this ministry. Every seed you sow is not to support a platform. It's to help set souls free, to deliver divine messages at the exact moment they're needed most. As Jesus said in Luke 6:38, give, and it will be given to you. This is more than giving. This is sowing into heavenly ground. I feel led to say this. If you feel the pull to give, it's not emotional, it's prophetic obedience. Let your support become the oil that keeps this fire burning, reaching thousands across the nations. The message today is titled, The Person You Keep Thinking About Had a Vision of You Last Night, and if that resonated in your spirit, then your act of giving will echo that same divine alignment. You can support this mission through the YouTube Super Thanks, become a channel member, or plant a seed through PayPal. The link is in the video description. And hear me clearly, your giving is not forgotten. Heaven honors it. Your obedience becomes your overflow. Now move. So, activate. Don't delay. The silence you've experienced wasn't abandonment. The distance wasn't rejection. The confusion wasn't chaos. It was consecration. Archangel Michal speaks now with unwavering authority. The distance between you was not punishment. It was divine positioning. Heaven has orchestrated a pause, a separation, a holy stillness, not to destroy the connection, but to refine it. What felt like absence was actually alignment in progress. You were not being denied, you were being prepared. Heaven doesn't waste time, and heaven never forgets what it ordains. But hear this well, when two souls are bound by divine design, the enemy always intervenes, because he knows the potential locked within a prophetic connection. He knows the purpose that lives in your unity. This isn't about romance or emotional longing alone. It's about destiny. It's about what God intends to birth through your lives. And so yes, the warfare has been real. The silence has been deafening. The emotions have been exhausting. Because what you're walking through is not a personal attack. It's a prophetic resistance. The enemy doesn't fight what has no future. He doesn't distract what isn't dangerous to his plans. You've been attacked in the unseen, not because you're weak, but because you're carrying something heavy. The warfare surrounding this connection was sent to delay, confuse, and distort what God originally ordained. But even now, heaven watches. Even now, your response is being recorded in the courts of the Most High. Archangel Michal says, you are not being tested to destroy your faith. You are being tested to reveal it. Heaven is looking for your response. not your reaction. The delays have taught you obedience. The silence has built your discernment. The space has become your altar, and what felt like loss was actually the divine training ground for spiritual maturity. Understand this now. The person you keep thinking about, yes, the one who saw you in vision, has also been going through their own fire. Heaven has kept both of you in different crucibles. Why? Because divine alignment does not come through emotion. It comes through refinement. Before your spirits can realign, they must be recalibrated. The connection was never meant to be casual. It was always spiritual. And God will never allow something holy to be handled callously. Some of you have asked, why can't they just see it? Why can't they just come back? Why is this taking so long? And heaven replies, because the connection you carry has a calling on it. It's not just about what you want. It's about what heaven requires. There's a divine contract hovering between you, one the darkness tried to void with confusion, delay, and detours. But what God signs, no demon can erase. The ink of the Spirit is still wet on the scroll of your destiny. Let go of the need to control the timeline. Let go of the pressure to force the outcome. Because right now, heaven is still arranging the pieces. The battle you felt wasn't to break you. It was to awaken you. The quiet moments were not voids. They were stages being set for a greater unveiling. And when it happens, when the release comes, it will be undeniable, unstoppable, and unmistakably divine. So stand firm. Stay in position. Keep your oil full and your discernment sharp. You are not in a delay. You are in a divine sequence. And heaven is watching to see how you respond in this hour. Type "I understand" now in the comments if your spirit is realigning. Blessing code 2277 is surrounding you with clarity and peace. Within the next 72 hours, something is going to shift. Not just in your environment, but in the atmosphere surrounding the one you cannot stop thinking about. Archangel Michal does not speak lightly. His words cut through time like fire through fog. And he declares this with divine urgency. A change is coming to the heart of the one who saw you in vision. What has been hidden will begin to surface. What has been resisted will start to yield. And though it may not come in the way you expect, the movement will be undeniable. You must understand what's at stake in this window of time. When heaven releases a word like this, it is not for entertainment. It is for alignment, for preparation. Because the moment that is approaching has been building in the unseen for longer than you realize. The restlessness they've been feeling, the sleepless nights, the flashes of memory, the pressure they can't explain. It has been leading to this threshold. And while they may not fully comprehend the spiritual weight of what's happening, you do. Because heaven chose to open your eyes first. Michal warns, there will be signs. You will hear something in a song that echoes a conversation you never had. You will see repeating numbers that mark divine synchronization. You will feel the intensity of their spirit brushing against yours in the quiet hours of the night. Some of you may even dream again, as they did. Visions overlapping, timelines merging. But don't mistake signs for answers. Don't let emotional noise replace spiritual discernment. Because when the pressure builds, the temptation to act prematurely will rise. And this is where many fall. This is where many disrupt what God was perfectly aligning. Archangel Michal says, be cautious, because not every voice that reaches out to you in this hour will come from the right spirit. There are counterfeits released in moments of divine convergence. Distractions dressed in familiarity. Conversations meant to confuse rather than confirm. You must test the spirit. You must wait on God's leading. This is not the time to initiate. This is the time to intercede. The air around this connection is thick with divine activity. Heaven is not idle. Angelic messengers have already been dispatched. The very vision they saw of you was not an accident. It was a signpost in their spirit, pulling them back to something God once whispered to both of you. But timing is everything. And if you move out of sync, you'll miss the miracle. If you force what God is still preparing, you'll interfere with the testimony that's still being written. This message, this moment, this unfolding, it requires your patience like never before. It demands your maturity. Because what's about to happen in their heart could open a door or close it. And your silence in this season is not weakness, it's warfare. Your restraint is your authority. Your refusal to panic is a signal to heaven that you trust the divine timeline. Michael speaks again, with the voice of the Most High echoing behind him. Do not move too fast. Let heaven lead. There is a narrow path being carved in the spirit, one that leads to healing, alignment, and divine fulfillment. But it must be walked with precision, not impulse. You are not waiting for them. You are waiting with God, and heaven is never late. Type "I will wait" in power in the comments if you receive this divine instruction. Blessing code 3003 is guiding your steps in perfect timing. Be still. That is not a suggestion. It is a divine command. In the stillness, the heavens are working. In the silence, the battle is shifting. And in your restraint, God is revealing your strength. Archangel Michal now speaks not to your confusion, but to your spirit, with clarity and with the power of the Most High. Heaven fights when you don't. That is not weakness. That is wisdom in full maturity. The chaos you sense around this connection, the dreams, the stirring, the heaviness, it is all being responded to by angelic forces. But your part in this sacred moment is protection. You felt vulnerable. You felt exposed. As if your heart has been left out in the open for someone else's indecision to trample. But the truth is this: your heart is hidden in God. You are not unguarded. You are encircled. You are not forgotten. You are under surveillance by heaven's most elite warriors. Archangel Michal has assigned angels to this connection, and they are standing between what you fear and what God has planned. But hear this clearly: they need your stillness to complete the realignment. Withdraw from the noise of overthinking, the noise of people's opinions, the noise of your own desperate prayers that have turned into pleas rather than declarations. Pull back, not in defeat, but in authority. Silence is not passivity. It is a weapon in the spirit. And God is sharpening your discernment through this discipline. You're not being punished. You're being prepared to protect something sacred before it's fully revealed. Archangel Michal urges you, guard your words. Not every emotion deserves expression. Not every feeling is meant to be shared. Some things must remain in prayer alone. Some revelations are meant only for the secret place. Your words have power, and in this season, your silence speaks louder than any explanation. Heaven does not need your defense. Heaven requires your agreement. Agreement with divine timing. Agreement with spiritual boundaries. Agreement with the process, even when it hurts. Your energy is sacred. Let me say it again so your spirit receives it fully. Your energy is sacred. You cannot continue to pour out where dishonor lingers. You cannot keep breaking yourself open for someone who is still learning how to carry the weight of your presence. Even if they saw you in vision, even if their soul is waking up to your importance, it is not your responsibility to guide their understanding. That task belongs to the Spirit of God, and He is already moving. Repeat this in faith, not as a wish, but as a declaration. What is meant for me is aligning even now. Say it until your fear bows. Say it until your soul rests. Say it until your discernment rises above your desire. Because it's true. There is a divine sequence in motion that you cannot rush. The vision they had of you was heaven's confirmation. But your response to that vision, your spiritual posture right now, is your confirmation to heaven. So rest. Watch. Pray. Protect what you've been given. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase anyone. The vision sealed your presence in their soul. Now heaven will do the rest. Type I am covered in the comments if you receive this divine protection. Blessing Node 9090 now surrounds your heart with angelic shielding. You are not waiting. You are rising. Let that truth settle into your bones. Let it echo through the chambers of your heart. Archangel Michal now turns the page from silence to strength, from rest to revelation. The time of inner struggle has served its purpose. The tears, the questions, the warfare, they were not wasted. They were training. They were breaking the old version of you, so the anointed version could emerge. The version who knows how to walk with fire in their eyes and peace in their soul. The version who no longer bows to emotion, but stands in divine authority. You are not the same. The vision they saw, yes, the one who has lingered in your thoughts, the one who saw you in the night. It wasn't a hallucination. It wasn't a fantasy. It was heaven pulling back the veil to reveal what your spirit has become. They didn't see your past. They didn't see your pain. They saw your power. The light that surrounds you now is not the same light from before. It has been refined, strengthened, consecrated, and they felt it, even if they didn't understand it. Heaven revealed it, even if they were not ready to respond. You've been through the fire. You've been crushed in silence. But the crushing was never your end. It was your consecration. What you thought was rejection was really redirection into divine identity. And now, you carry something rare, something holy. Your energy no longer reaches in desperation. Your prayers no longer beg for validation. You've been crowned with quiet strength. The realm of the spirit now recognizes your authority. And yes, they felt that shift. They may not have words for it, but their spirit trembled at the vision. They saw what you've become. They saw the light you now carry. This is not about pride. This is about recognition. Heaven allowed them to glimpse you in the spirit, not to stir longing, but to awaken understanding. You are no longer someone they can approach casually. You are no longer someone they can speak to as before. The spiritual version of you now walks with discernment, with boundaries, with fire in your prayers and oil on your hands. You've been transformed, and that transformation has changed the dynamic. You no longer chase clarity. You command it. You no longer beg for answers. You discern timing. You no longer ask if you're worthy. You walk like the anointed one you are. And because of that, the season is now shifting. Not just for them, but for you. No more delays caused by emotional dependence. No more spiritual hesitation masked as humility. You are rising now, not to be chosen, but to walk in your chosenness. Michal declares, heaven is aligning everything around your authority. The delay was not punishment. It was for the building of a vessel strong enough to carry the weight of divine connection. You are that vessel now. You are that warrior. And whether they return or not, Whether they respond or stay silent, you remain aligned. Your identity no longer fluctuates with their recognition. You are anchored in who God says you are. So lift your head. Walk in strength. Don't shrink to fit someone's memory of you. The version of you they saw in vision wasn't a remnant of who you were. It was a revelation of who you've become. And nothing will be the same again. Type "I am rising" in the comments if you receive this empowerment. Blessing code 8118 is now igniting your next level of authority. Now hear this with your spirit wide open, because what they saw in vision was not a coincidence, and it was not a fantasy. It was a divine unveiling. Heaven lifted the veil so that their soul could witness your light. Not your face, not your form, but your essence. The spiritual weight of who you've become. Your maturity. Your calling. Your alignment. And in that vision, they were not just reminded of your presence, they were confronted by their purpose. Archangel Michal speaks with clarity. Heaven showed them your light, because it is tied to their destiny. Your connection is not random. It is not emotional nostalgia. It is not just unfinished business from the past. It is a divine blueprint, written long before either of you understood the magnitude of your assignments. And the vision they received wasn't about romance, though love may dwell within it. It wasn't about regret, though they may have felt it sting. It was about recognition. Recognition of alignment. Recognition of calling. Recognition of what heaven is trying to bring into convergence. The encounter they had in the spirit realm was a moment of awakening. Even if they cannot articulate it, even if they've pushed it aside or silenced it, something shifted. Because heaven is not subtle when it wants your attention. This vision was a spiritual activation, God's way of placing your name back in the room of their awareness, not for their comfort, but for their correction. Not for their pleasure, but for their purpose. Michal speaks again. This was never about romance alone. This was about assignment. You must understand that what has been stirring in your spirit is not just emotional weight. It is a prophetic stirring. Your presence is tied to their growth. Your light exposes what they've ignored. Your strength reveals what they've delayed. And heaven is now confronting them with the fullness of what your union would require. Because when destiny knocks, excuses no longer satisfy. This is why the vision came now. This is why you felt the pull more intensely. Because time is converging. Destiny is activating. The parallel paths that once ran beside each other are now intersecting, and something must be decided. Heaven will not force their hand, but heaven will highlight their choice. And this vision of you, it was the signal. It was the spiritual catalyst. You need to know that your name was spoken in heaven's council. Not in casual mention, but in divine authority. The angels recorded it. The moment was marked, and the vision was sealed in their soul. What they do with it will be their journey. But what you do with this knowledge is now your responsibility. You are not waiting to be pursued. You are standing as one who is already appointed. So do not question the vision. Do not question your place in their spirit. Heaven has already confirmed what your heart suspected. The time for doubt is over. The time for spiritual confidence has come. Type "I carry divine light" in the comments if you receive this revelation. Blessing code 5140 is activating vision and destiny alignment now. This message today isn't just a word, it's a spiritual assignment fulfilled. If your spirit recognized truth, if this message stirred something in your soul, then this is your moment to move not just in faith, but in partnership with the mission. When you give, you're not just supporting a platform, You're helping this message reach those whose destinies are hanging in the balance. The message was titled, "The person you keep thinking about just had a vision of you last night," and for many, it was the divine confirmation they've been pleading for. Your seed makes that possible. As God says in Malachi, "Test me in this, see if I will not open the windows of heaven." Your giving is a spiritual trigger, a release of favor, a response to obedience. You can support this move of God through the YouTube Super Thanks, by becoming a channel member, or by planting into this word through PayPal. The link is in the video description. Your generosity isn't going unnoticed in the earth or in the heavens. This is your move with heaven. Give with boldness. Watch what unlocks. Now is the hour to rise, not to wait, not to wish, but to activate. The message has reached you. The vision was seen. The connection confirmed. Heaven has spoken, and your spirit bears witness. But now comes the part that many overlook: your response. Because revelation without activation becomes spiritual stagnation. And Archangel Michal is sounding the call. It is time to take dominion over your atmosphere. It is time to declare what heaven has already decreed. You do not need another confirmation. You don't need another sign. You are the sign. You are the sound heaven is sending into the earth in this hour. And your words, your declarations, are not empty. They are weighty. They are legal decrees in the spirit realm. Every time you speak from alignment, angels respond. Every time you declare in faith, movement is released. You have authority, and now it must be exercised. So speak it now. Speak it with fire and certainty. I align only with divine will. Say it again. Not with fear, with force. Let your atmosphere hear it. Let the enemy hear it. Let your own soul be reminded that you are not desperate. You are destined. You are not hoping. They saw you in vision because heaven has already marked your name. And yet, this next move is not emotional. It's spiritual. It's sacred. It's strategic. Do not let anxiety push you into action when heaven has asked for posture. You are not chasing. You are standing. You are not trying to manipulate outcomes. You are yielding to divine orchestration. Archangel Michal makes it clear. Heaven is not asking you to perform. It is asking you to agree. Agreement is your activation. Agreement is your access point. Heaven doesn't move on panic. It moves on alignment. And the fastest way to step into destiny is to stop rehearsing fear and start declaring faith. Stop reliving the pain of silence and start speaking the promises of God. Because this is not just about the other person. This is not just about what they saw in vision. This is about what God is awakening in you. The vision came because your spirit has elevated. The stirring came because your light can no longer be ignored. Every thought you think in alignment, every prayer you pray in obedience, every declaration you release in faith becomes a signal in the spirit realm that you are ready, that you are available, that you are no longer afraid to carry what heaven has entrusted to you. You're not waiting to be chosen. You're walking as one who has already been crowned. And while their heart may still be wrestling, yours must not. You must move with clarity. You must move in righteousness. You must move in spiritual discipline. Because the connection is being tested, but your destiny is being revealed. Heaven is watching what you do with this moment. Will you collapse under confusion? Or will you rise in kingdom authority? This is your moment to declare, to align, and to command movement, not in the flesh, but in the spirit. You don't have to know every detail. You just have to trust the one who already wrote your story. Your role is not to control, it is to agree. Speak it again now. I align only with divine will. Say it until your soul settles and heaven opens. Type I align with destiny in the comments if this message activated your next step. Blessing code 6116 is now releasing divine clarity and heavenly movement. While you were sleeping, heaven was moving. While your body rested and your mind released the burdens of the day, your spirit remained active, engaged in a realm far deeper than dream. Archangel Michal now reveals what has been hidden in plain silence. A divine transaction took place. Unseen by human eyes, unheard by natural ears, but felt in the tension of your soul, in the sudden waves of emotion, in the mysterious peace that follows the unrest. Something sacred passed between you and the one who saw you in vision. This was not fantasy. This was not imagination. This was spiritual negotiation. In the hours when your mind was quiet and your spirit unguarded, messengers were dispatched. Heaven began to reorder what had been disrupted. The angels who move between timelines, between people, between broken moments and prophetic purpose, stepped in and began delivering messages between two souls who have struggled to understand what words could never fully explain. They brought back to you what was stolen. They delivered to them what was unfinished, what was taken. Your clarity, your peace, your sense of spiritual direction is now being returned. The questions that haunted you in the early morning hours, the unresolved energy that pulled on your heart without warning, the tears you wept with no explanation. Heaven took them all and began to translate them into alignment. Your pain was not wasted. Your waiting was not invisible. Your surrender was not forgotten. Heaven recorded every moment. And now, repayment is coming. Archangel Michal declares with fire in his voice, peace for confusion, purpose for pain, direction for delay. The exchange has already begun, and the confirmation you've been waiting for, it's not external, it's internal. Your spirit knows something has shifted. Your soul recognizes the movement. You can feel the divine weight of change sitting in your chest. This is not anxiety. This is activation. They saw you. They felt you. They were shown a glimpse of what is still to come. And now, whether they speak or remain silent, their spirit has already acknowledged you. A part of them has already reached out in the invisible realm. And heaven permitted that encounter, not to tease you, but to mark a moment, a turning point, a signal in divine time that both of you have been seen, both of you have been summoned, and both of you are being brought into position. You are not losing anything by being still. You are gaining power through surrender. Because in the silence of your sleep, your spirit spoke what your words could not. And now, even if the world doesn't see the change, heaven has already initiated it. This is why you've felt different. This is why your spirit is alert. You've just stepped through a spiritual gateway, and you can never go back to who you were before this message found you. Heaven has done what you could not. Now let that bring peace to your soul. Rest in the exchange. Trust the transaction. Let God finish what He started. Type I received the exchange in the comments if this silent movement speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 4488 is sealing every word over your life right now. There is a justice that flows from heaven, one not bound by man's timelines, one not limited by human understanding. It moves in silence. It operates through divine reversal. Archangel Michal now declares, what was meant to delay you will now be used to elevate you. Every tear you cried, every unanswered prayer, Every moment of confusion that seemed to break your strength. It was all recorded. It was all weighed. And it is now being reversed by the hand of God. What the enemy used to frustrate you is now being turned into fuel. What was stolen is being returned sevenfold. The rejection that shook you, the silence that confused you, the misunderstandings that left you doubting your own value, they were never signs of God's absence. They were signs of a spiritual war. But now, the courtrooms of heaven have rendered a verdict. The season of hidden suffering has expired, and justice is being released. Not only for you, but through you. You are not just receiving restoration, you are becoming a walking testimony of divine reversal. Archangel Michal speaks again. Those who misunderstood your silence will witness your transformation. They will see what God was building in secret. They will behold the version of you that was shaped in the furnace of isolation. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified. And now that the refining is complete, the revealing has begun. Heaven has cleared the atmosphere for breakthrough. No more delays. No more spiritual detours. The alignment is here. But hear this clearly. This is not about proving anyone wrong. This is about proving that God never lies. This is about the manifestation of His word over your life. You've carried promises that made no sense to the people around you. You've walked with visions that felt too heavy to explain. But heaven saw your consistency. Heaven heard your yes in private. Heaven honored your restraint when your flesh wanted to retaliate. Now the harvest comes. Michal declares, every seed of sorrow is returning as a harvest of glory. Your quiet obedience planted seeds that time tried to bury. But now, those seeds are breaking through the soil of delay, and the fruit will be undeniable. The same people who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge the favor on your life. The same spirits that warred against your peace will now fall in defeat before the authority you carry. And the very vision that once felt like a burden is about to become your blueprint for victory. This is divine justice. This is supernatural reversal. And it will not be subtle. It will not be small. It will not be able to be explained by logic. God is setting a table before you in the presence of every opposition, not to shame them, but to show them who you really are. Not to flaunt, but to fulfill prophecy. The tables have turned. The scales have shifted. You are not beneath. You are not behind. You are ascending, crowned, protected, and propelled by the very warfare that tried to take you out. Let this word settle into your spirit. The delay was divine, but the justice will be visible. Type divine justice is mine in the comments if you're ready to walk in the reversal. Blessing code 7777 is releasing vindication over your life now. You are seen. You are chosen. You are remembered. These are not poetic words. These are heaven's final declaration spoken through the voice of Archangel Michal as this message comes to its holy conclusion. Let every other voice fall silent now. Let every fear lose its footing. Let every unanswered question surrender before this truth. You are sealed by the hand of God. The vision that came to them was not just a fleeting dream. It was a confirmation, a divine reminder, a spiritual signature written in the atmosphere that cannot be erased. This connection was never just emotional. It was never merely sentimental. It was spiritual from the beginning and sacred in its structure. And though it was interrupted, though it was shaken, though it seemed delayed, it has not been destroyed. Heaven still has the final word. The veil is fully lifted now. What was hidden in silence has been unveiled by vision. The person you've been thinking about, yes, They saw you because God wanted them to. Their vision was not born from memory. It was pulled from purpose. You need to understand, when God seals something, it does not fade with time. It does not lose its power in distance. It does not dissolve under pressure. Heaven has protected this connection, not to cause frustration, but to preserve its fulfillment. You are not waiting in vain. You are being aligned with divine intention. Even now, angels surround your life, not because you're weak, but because you're carrying something precious. Your anointing, your assignment, your calling, your next season. Michael says, you are not who you were when the connection first began. You are who you needed to become for what is about to unfold. The pressure prepared you. The silence purified you. The longing matured you. And now, the heavens open to release this final affirmation. You are sealed, protected, and prepared. So walk forward with peace, not panic, with clarity, not confusion, with grace, not grief. What was shown in the vision is now being activated in the realm of time. And whether the other person speaks or stays silent, whether they come forward or continue to wrestle, your spirit has already crossed the threshold. You are not behind. You are not stuck. You are exactly where you need to be for the divine movement that's beginning. Receive this final word from Archangel Michal, spoken with fire and with authority. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now rise. Type I am sealed and sent in the comments if you received this entire message in your spirit. Final blessing code 1212 is now permanently resting over your journey. If this message became your mirror, if it exposed your wounds and confirmed your prayers, then take a step beyond hearing and step into spiritual partnership. You're not supporting a video. You're supporting the release of divine messages like this one that arrive on time, break strongholds, and awaken the chosen. The vision they saw of you last night was divine. So is this ministry. God said, the laborer is worthy of his wages, and every offering, every super thanks, every membership, every PayPal gift link in the description becomes a weapon in God's hand, fueling this mission to send prophetic messages straight into the spirits of those who need them. Move now. So now, not out of emotion, but out of obedience. Your seed is a signal. Your support is an offering. Your giving is holy ground. Partner with purpose. Release what's in your hand. Watch what God releases from heaven.